The Bikeriders.
Yeah.
Directed, all right, by Jeff Nichols.
Yes.
So it is a new movie coming out. We did a reaction to it, Wyatt and I. It got some pretty good reception
Yeah,
on the
lots of
trailer,
good
which
reception.
means like there's some spice behind this movie. There's definitely going to be a fan base around this movie, and it's not that we're going to tap into that, but I want to make sure we talk about things that people care about, and this seems to be like a movie people are going to care about. Beef. We have a lot to get into with this, and I don't want to spend forever on it. But just right off the bat, do you guys think this is because it's biker culture and we don't have a lot of movies about that, or do you think it's because it is
Actors.
Austin Butler and
Tom Hardy?
Why do you think it is that people's going to?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think there is an aspect of, even like, I went and watched your guys' reaction video because I was not part of it, but I noticed in the comments it was a lot of it. There was definitely a group of individuals that were unique to watching that reaction because they were interested in that. You could tell from the comments, and there is kind of this group that this is touching on, that we've not had a lot of movies about. We've had a few, but not a lot. And it is interesting. So
I'll say there was one dude that left like the emoji with the curse words, the red face, and then angry face, and said, "Stop calling them gangs, they're clubs." And I responded with, "Biker clubs are gangs."
Yeah, they're gangs.
Obviously, this guy is
not
in
clubs.
one.
A club is people who get together maybe twice a month. And we talk about nerd stuff, or you talk about books,
or you play chess.
You play chess, or
those are clubs.
Or you do fencing club.
You do weird freaking ceremonies.
Hobbyists. Those are hobbies, right?
You put on robes.
Things like gangs, things like clans, things like cults. No, that's what this. When you're dressing up specifically to get, to go out and do some damage, or maybe to do some damage in private, that's a cult. To do damage to a specific group of people, that's a clan. To do damage to everybody out in public, that is a gang.
Look, I'm not trying to look. I noticed this in the writing, so I'm rewatching The Mentalist right now, and there is an episode with a biker gang, and they even wrote it in there. All the cops are referring to it as the gang, but when they're talking about themselves, they say the club. So this is a multi-generational argument that I don't necessarily think we're going to solve. But Wyatt's right. Everybody who's not in the gang knows it's a gang. And everybody inside doesn't want to necessarily be referred to as a gang because we're a club, and you're not fooling anybody. We know you do illegal stuff.
What's the difference between a club and a gang? Let's define.
I just said.
Look, a club for bikers is a gang in denial. It's a gang. That's what it is.
It's not in denial. It's a gang. It's the wording is specific. We're not going to call ourselves a gang. That way we don't get associated with the unsavory parts of what gangs do, even though they do those unsavory things.
Yeah.
So it's
also,
not a club.
There's a lot of white
clubs are fun.
There's a lot of white supremacists in biker gangs.
Mm-hmm.
There are black biker gangs as well, but most biker gangs traditionally have a lot of white supremacists in them, and they don't like to be referred to.
Don't generalize. Don't generalize. I'm
telling you what my dad experienced. My dad has experienced back in the day, like the height of Hell's Angels and all them, right?
Oh, are you worried about generalizing the biker gangs, Josh?
No, I'm just saying it has been a trend where on our videos, Joseph generalizes, like on Elvis, and you stir up an audience.
Not on the podcast. Look,
You're gonna get a bunch of dudes in the comments be like, "Man, there's black biker clubs. What are you talking about?"
there are. There's a. I remember when I lived in Columbia, there was a huge black biker club that was going to Charleston because it was like it's the biggest national biker club reunion or like festival or something. Hundreds of thousands of people were driving through Columbia, like black bikers, riding through Columbia to get to Charleston. It was incredible to see. Incredible to see. So many black bikers. So many of them came into where I worked at Truck Supply and like got a part or knew somebody there. It was super cool. I liked it. It was cool. But the section of this article, I think it's mostly we read the majority of it to get to know the perspective of what's going on here. But to give you a real quick synopsis of the inspiration behind it, it's based on this kind of photo book from Danny. How did you say his last name? Leon. Danny Leon is the original 1967, right? And it's called The Bikers. And he basically went out and took pictures and spent a lot of time and did a lot of interviews with actual biker gangs. Like, so this clubs. Right here, or biker clubs, whatever. So this picture right here is actually like they recreated it with Austin Butler. Right. Well, did I not include it? I didn't include it. I'm sorry. There's one with Austin Butler that's exactly like this. All right.
Okay.
Because they're trying to recreate it. But yeah, so that's what this movie's based on, and it's its own unique script. It's not based on a specific person necessarily, but it is creating a narrative that's inspired by biker culture, essentially.
Well, what I thought was interesting that the director was talking about is the idea for the story of doing a love triangle that's not like a love triangle. It's two. You find this interesting person, right? You know, this person with potential, and both people see the potential, and they both want to, kind of make him into the type of person they believe he could be, and that's what Tom Hardy's doing. That's what Jodie Comer is doing, and they
with
both
Austin Butler
with
in
Austin
the middle.
Butler as the person in the middle, and I like that idea of we both want to. I don't think necessarily in a negative way. Make this person who he could be, but we both want things for him, and that's going to influence him, and what's his decision going to be. I think that's really interesting and fun.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm not saying directors don't get deep with their stories, but I like seeing this article, how it's so extensive, gives so many thoughts from the director to see, like, he's really put a lot of thought and effort behind his intention with the script. Like this section right here where he kind of like talks about how he doesn't want to glamorize biker culture, but has to acknowledge that there is a romantic attraction that most people have to biker culture. And it's really cool how he's like trying to balance what it is and how it's viewed, you know? So literally what it is, the good and the bad, how it's viewed, the good and the bad, you know what I mean? And so there's like a lot of intention behind this director's it seems like he really cares about the story. And I believe this is the same director who did like Killing Them Softly, right? So he's done some higher end stories. He's not done like, I don't think, a huge box office hit.
Wait, what was Killing Them Softly?
Brad Pitt.
And
let me look him up real quick to make sure I'm not getting that incorrect. Let's see.
I don't know. Did I watch this?
I don't think I've ever seen.
Well, let's see what else he's done that you
I don't think I have seen
recognize.
Killing Them Softly.
Okay, so Jeff Nichols. So, Mud. Maybe I'm mistaken.
Did Mud. He do Killing Them Softly?
Yeah, with
Conahey.
Yes.
Did I make up that he did Killing Them Softly? He did Mud. For sure.
Okay.
It was directed by Andrew Dominic.
That Killing Them Softly?
Killing Them Softly was.
What else did he do? Is something that he's coming out with that we've been talking about? Is that why I'm thinking of him?
Don't think so.
No, maybe not.
Well, Jeff Nichols, he did Mud. And so he's done a few good movies, but not like big hits. You know what I mean? He did something called The Midnight Special.
Nice. Familiar with, that.
Special.
Right. So I think overall, this movie looks very intentional. And I think it's going to be a really good emotional journey and extreme drama heavy movie. And because there's a love story and there's a freedom story, I guess, in some ways.
And it's interesting, I think, for a lot of people, because the rebellious nature of the biker clubs, the biker gangs, it surrounds these slow Midwestern towns.
Yeah.
Where this idea that, there's this need to be rebellious, and yet, everybody's trying to kind of live slowly. Everybody's just trying to, and you drive through Pennsylvania or Ohio, and you see these kind of older style neighborhoods and houses, and you try to imagine, those free spirit kind of biker gangs rolling through. That's attractive to the young people growing up in there.
Ever watch The Fighter with Mark Wahlberg and Christian Bale?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Wild movie.
That was
so good.
A movie that encapsulated what you just said very good in a fighter type movie.
Yeah. I think this one will kind of do the same thing.
Yeah, I think it will too. I think it's going to, especially, look, you put Austin Butler and Tom Hardy. That's a great cast because you're going to get a lot of people watching it because of them too. But you make them the bikers and not a couple of rougher looking dudes. I mean,
and
everyone's going to want to be a biker after this movie.
You're in this domestic setting where, your arguments and your fights aren't happening in like, the high rise hotels in New York and penthouses and old New England architecture. They're happening in, houses with carpet and vinyl walls and wooden tables and old light fixtures.
Pool tables at the bar.
It's super domestic and
cornfields, as we see in the background here.
It's middle America,
Yeah, they the biker gangs like that small bar. I mean, our parents live out kind of in the middle of nowhere, and I remember when we were in high school, there was a specific bike gang. I don't want to mention them, but
why
they went to
Hell's Angels.
A bar literally like right down the road from where our parents are. That's like a one room, like not even big at all.
Yeah.
It was the place that they could have hundreds of motorcycles be in the parking lot and they could just hang out and do their thing.
Right down the road. And our mom was like, Joshua, stay at your friends. Don't try to drive on the road right now. Stay there. And that's that. Okay. Now, Hell's Angels are not what they used to be. All right. I think most biker gangs right now or clubs are not what they used to be. All right. In the 60s to 80s, they ruled the roads. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like if a gang rolled through, they just rolled through. Like freaking, I remember my dad has a very fun story when he was a younger boy, when the Hells Angels had probably thousands of people that just rode with him all everywhere. You know what I mean? And they drove by his house one time and he said it was like 30 minutes of thousands of motorcycles just driving across the road out in front of their house. And he just watched all the roughest dudes in America just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wild, dude. And I think
catch that. Can you do it one more time for me? What was that? Oh, yeah, I got that
time. Or how would a Harley sound?
That's not bad. I liked the first one though.
Yeah.
He's
little
just over
scooter.
here motorboating.
Look, I think this is going to be a fun, very enjoyable movie that everyone should support to give Jeff his flowers, I guess. You know what I mean? Get his name more popular, see more of his movies than you might have already.